So I'd mentioned previously that Charlie Moon was a Chinese man who was one of the few Chinese people who were not forced out of the county. So that's Charlie Moon right there. This is one of the only pictures we have of him. I have seen other pictures in different publications. But so here's how this story goes. So Charlie Moon was working on Fred Bear's ranch, and that was on Redwood Creek. So when the word got out that all the Chinese were being expelled from Eureka, a group of men went out to Fred Bear's ranch and said, "Hey, Fred, we see that you have a Chinese man working for you. He's coming with us. We're sending him to San Francisco." And Fred said, "No, you're not." And the mob said, "Yeah, we are." And then Fred breaks out a shotgun and says, "No, you're not." And the group of men says, "Okay," and they kind of leave. So it's kind of a more flippant retelling of the story. But there are claims that Fred brought a shotgun out and said, "No, you're not taking Charlie Moon. He works for me. He is staying here." And he did. So Charlie Moon remained at Fred Bear's ranch, worked there for quite some time. And a lot of people, so this story took on a life of its own. So Charlie Moon ended up becoming kind of known as the only Chinese man in Humboldt County. And you can kind of see that in this obituary from Humboldt Times, 1943. A lot of people said, "This county has no Chinese people." And then some people would say, "Well, we have one Chinese guy. His name's Charlie Moon, but he's Americanized. He married a native woman, and he works on this ranch, and he's way out in the middle of nowhere. And so it's not really that big of a deal. We basically don't have any Chinese people." But we did. The county definitely had Chinese people. Besides Charlie, there are stories of other Chinese men remaining in the county in more rural areas. There's stories of Chinese folks going out to Orleans and staying out there after the expulsion was announced. This is a guy named Billy Bowe. We don't have really any information on him besides the fact that he lived out in Wichipec. And I'm not really sure when this picture was taken, maybe the 30s. But yeah, and kind of the things that are also in this case is the souvenir book. So this is a souvenir book that would be given out at things like the Panama Pacific International Exposition in San Francisco, other events where representatives from the county were trying to promote immigration to here. And in this population section, it says, "One fact that makes Humboldt unique among the counties of California, and indeed on the Pacific coast, we have no Chinese." And then it kind of goes on to talk about how that happened in 1885. "The community rose as a man and drove every Chinese out of the county. No violence was used, but they were compelled to go." And then they say, "We have no Chinese people." But there's evidence very contrary to the fact. This is a pamphlet that was handed out at the not 1885, the Panama Pacific International Exposition in the, 1915. And it's just a little potent facts, things that Humboldt has. And then Humboldt County has not Chinese or Japanese, Spanish, or railroad grants. And that's really interesting to look into the railroad grants part of that. But it has not Chinese or Japanese, which is an outright lie. And I mean, it was a way to promote immigration to Humboldt County by saying, we don't have these things that other counties have. We have all the good things and not the bad things like the Chinese people. This is kind of giving a little bit of a pushback to that long-standing narrative of there being no Chinese people in the county.